Thank you. Thanks a lot. First of all, thanks very much for showing up. And it's really, I've done this a couple times. I've done a couple clinics here, and it's always really been fun. It's a great place. And I'm really happy to have Joe DIORIO here, who's one of my favorite players of all time. So we'll probably wing it a little and play a couple of tunes for you. But I just wanted to quickly just talk about a couple of things that I wanted to concentrate on a bit. And also, if there are any questions at all, don't be shy. Go ahead and ask whatever, you know. But I just wanted to start off by kind of talking about playing over changes, over chord changes, like mainly over standards, which I've found to be really helpful for me. You know, because I kind of started out just playing rock and roll. You know, I was basically a rock player, and still, and just, you know, more diatonic stuff, more kind of in the same key kind of stuff. So I used to just learn by playing along with the records. And then I kind of heard some, and I still love that stuff. I mean, it's like some of my favorite music. And I don't think, also, I don't think I started playing standards or jazz tunes, quote-unquote jazz tunes, with any kind of notion that that music was better than like Jimi Hendrix, because I certainly don't feel that way at all. That's just my opinion. I mean, but I learned a lot from just getting into that kind of stuff. And it helped my rock playing too. It just helped, you know, just overall my playing. So I would just recommend that kind of, no matter what kind of music you want to get into, it's sometimes useful to learn how to play over changes and standards. And I'm sure a lot of you are into that anyway, but just to throw that out there. But one way that was what's easiest for me, I try to play along with the records, you know, maybe, you know, some Miles stuff or something like that, when I was just finally kind of keening into that. I said, what is this stuff? Let me see if I can play this stuff. And I couldn't at all. I mean, like, they changed key and I was lost. So I had to kind of approach it and study a little bit. I went to Berkeley for a while. And one thing that really helped me at Berkeley, I was studying some with Mick Goodrick, some with Pat Metheny, and it was generally kind of, and this guy Charlie Banakis also, who I studied with privately still. He's a piano player, actually. But one thing, especially Mick and Pat said this too, was to keep it as simple as possible. Instead of like every mode and every possibility and learning how to play over a standard, just maybe play chord tones just to start off, and just keep that as simple as possible. And just chord tone melodies, because it's a very strong, generally a really strong, those are strong notes, melodic notes, generally. A lot of standard tunes are, the melodies, if you check out the melodies, are based around chord tone melodies. One obvious one is All the Things You Are. This is the melody note is the flat third of the first chord, to the flat third of the second chord, to the third of the third chord, to the third of the fourth chord, right? A little embellishment there, but basically it's around the chord tones. So it's a strong, those are strong melodic notes, and they're, you can hear, I think, a standard tune in harmony that kind of moves around a lot by just keying on those notes. And I guess a way to begin this stuff, and I'm sure most of you have had this, but since I don't know the level of everybody, at least for me, and I still practice this stuff, and I'm learning a new tune or something, is just be aware of kind of the arpeggios. So if you're doing a tune like Autumn Leaves, maybe practice the stuff like that, you know, C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, flat major 7, you know, look at the changes and just kind of run through the arpeggios, kind of in an exercisey way. Right? Something like that, and maybe tape a bass line like that and play along with it. And go as slow as you need to. For me, this went amazingly slowly. I was dumb as hell with this shit, and still am, actually. I still can't figure out what half the stuff is. But as I say, it opened up on a new world for me. That's kind of informed my playing, just in a way that really was good for me. Anyway, it just made it more fun. It was like learning more words. So that's one way to approach, at first, getting chord tones together. Of course, if you want to then make up chord tone melodies, you don't want to sound like you're typing or some shit, You don't want to sound like it's real mechanical. So you want to just, you don't have to play every arpeggio like this, or even play arpeggios, but just use the notes of the chord to make up melodies. It's a good way to begin. The other thing I could mention is a lot of Bach stuff. There's one book that I've mentioned, and I still practice it through, is one in particular, but there's a whole bunch of Bach transcriptions and stuff. One is the sonatas and partitas for violin, and it's got a lot of single note studies, or pieces for violin. No chords, and you can still hear the changes. You can still hear the harmony without chords. And it's generally just chord tones. I mean, there's one, and I cannot play it, but just to give you an idea. Right there, it's G minor. Just try it. That's just G minor, and then it kind of goes to D7. D7 kind of flat 9, and then